serene in the green tent with you. I love this. I love this virtual background. It has an emotional effect, making
It
me feel
does.
peaceful.
Well,
It's
the color
wonderful.
is the color of the heart chakra. So,
Yes,
it was woven together with all this love and intention of support. And you can really feel that being in here, like being supported and being held and loved. Because
yes,
when you're bringing forth your gifts, it's such a vulnerable space. It's like presenting your baby to the world,
yes.
and you're so deeply connected to it that I really wanted to have a space that honors what a sacred act that is to bring forth light for the universe and to offer it. And I think one thing that's missing is the way that we hold offerings. We kind of dismiss them or plow over them because there's so much fertility and creativity, but to really hold it as sacred, a sacred act of creating light. um, I'm trying to create a new way of holding our gifts of light.
That's wonderful. One of the things that I'm also so excited about, in full agreement with you, is that so much of what we do when we're offering our gifts, I know for me personally, is a lone journey.
Yeah.
I'm writing, I'm meditating on what I'm going to write, I'm creating, I'm working with my computer, I'm performing something, I'm preparing it. It's a lot of alone time, and that's fine with me because that's a very strong creative flow. I'm in alignment with this creativity that's flowing in. At the same time, it's really important to feel fully connected in community. So having this opportunity to talk with you and to talk about this offering that I have, I simply would like our time together to be a mirror and an offering to anybody that's watching that is also working and perhaps much time alone like I do whilst working, to know that you aren't alone, you are connected. We're here to celebrate your offerings. We're here to celebrate your work, your gifts. We're here to share those works and those gifts. So this premiere interview is a model for our invitation for what we would like you to do, because we would like to hear from you. So we'll start with my story, but it's just my story. I'm very pleased to be offering the gifts that I'm offering, but it's not just about me. It's about, you, viewer, because we want to hear from you as well, whether, we interview you or whether you're in another location far away and you find yourself wanting to share and interview another woman and contribute a story. We're all about that. So here we are in our green tent, and I'm happy to talk about my work for the moment. But really, what I want any viewer to do is to say, that's great, and I would like to share my work as well. Um, and just a quick story. I had the great privilege of doing a workshop for high school students in my area, some of them from privileged towns and some of them from very challenged inner city areas here. And I fell in love with those high school students. I fell in love with them. And my model for them, because they are all in a very prestigious performing arts facility, so they are young people that are drawn to the performing arts. And I was asked to come in as a model for someone who takes performing arts skills, theater, presentation, voice, the skills of theater and presentation, but creates her own material. So that was what I was driving home with these young people was out. It's so important for them to honor what is inside of them, their unique story, coming from their own vulnerability. What are they passionate about? What has life experience given them that they know has value for other people? I was really driving home the point that it's not about, or doesn't have to be about, getting a script, reading it, going to an audition, hoping to get the part, when there's something inside of you that you might want to develop and share. I received yesterday letters from everybody that I had presented to. They are platinum, they are gold for me, because these young people said, I realize now that I'm important, I matter, what's going on inside of me matters, what I have to say matters, that which is inside of me that is vulnerable, perhaps a painful experience, is gold at the bottom of the well, that if I can really look at that and find it and bring it out, it can be greatly healing to other people.
I'm so excited that you're talking to that. Uh-oh. I'm so excited that you're talking to that, because we're so fixated on the end product that we forget about the value of the process of being in the process of creation. And when you're in the process of creation, you're healing yourself, you're connecting to the universe, you're listening to your core essence self. And that is enough right there. That's the whole point. And we're so fixated on the end product, we're afraid to enter that sacred space of being a divine creator with the universe. And it's such a huge limitation. So I know you're such a enormous role model, and leading everyone into that space that you don't have to wait. You can create right now. And it's just that simple act of creation that takes care of everything else. It's just being trusting and surrendering to that act of creating that is enough. And that is the whole point.
Yes, yes, yes. I also know that one of the things, a common voice that we all have, I shouldn't say all, but many of us do. I could almost say all, because pretty much everybody I talk to, there's an inner critic that just says, what it is, who do you think you are to say this or share this, or who's going to care about what you have to say, or just, an inner critic that says not good enough. Again, you were using the words end product, who's going to like it or want it. It isn't about that. It really is about, if it's not about me and it's about you, because I love you and I want to give you this thing that I found so personally transformative, I can easily get out of my way for that, because it's not about me. It's about you. It's about giving the love of this transformative experience I had, because it might help you. And even as I spoke to those young people, and when I speak with anybody of any age, that's a good way to lift the blocks out of the way. It ain't about you. It's because you're full of love and you want to share and turn on a light for somebody else. That we can pretty much all get behind.
Yeah, it is a courageous act. It's love in action is what it is. And that's a frequency. It's a state of being. It takes courage to step into the unknown and to dive into the depths of yourself through the creative process. And in that process, you bring up shadow and you work through shadow, and you become more connected and more in love. But just the act of stepping into the unknown, whether you're writing music or singing or painting or writing poetry, whatever you're doing is a huge act of courage, and it's love in action, and it gives everyone permission to step into that love with you. And so it's so important for everyone to be doing it.
I completely agree. And your creative offering might be that you are being called to lead, to organize, to construct, to create a foundation. I mean, all of that is creativity. To organize, to call together, these are all acts of leadership, acts of creativity. It isn't all the arts. I mean, I use the arts, but creativity comes in many, many forms. It could be, for example, I think of Anne Smith and working together with Angela and other women to create the Green Tent. That's a monumental act of creativity. It's organizational creativity that comes from the heart and from love. So however it is that you're designed, whatever it is that you want to give, whatever it is that's sort of natural and authentic to you, yes, give it and give it away. And then also Leah talked about courage, and I talked with the young people about courage as well. One of the things I know from my experience and my years, because I've been around the wheel a few times, which is great. I'm so thankful for that. I know that creativity does take courage. And I know, and I was talking to the young people about this, there's a point looking at that you think looks so incredibly confident and must not have fear because they just look so confident. I promise you that they also have a very scared part. To give of yourself, give this thing that you've created or you wish to organize. There is a voice that says, don't do that. Don't do it. Bad idea. You're going to get your head cut off. It's just a bad idea. You know, don't do it. People aren't going to like it. It's not going to be okay. You're going to be criticized. Whatever it is, there's an inner voice that's designed. It's basically located in the left hemisphere of the brain, in a part of the brain that's about the size of a peanut, that always wants to keep you safe. Don't do it. Don't stick your neck out. That voice, if you can just go, okay, listen, I hear you. I understand that you're coming from a size of my brain that's, you know, part of my brain that's the size of a peanut. And you're just trying to keep me safe, but I'm going to do this anyway. And when you do actually do an offering and you realize, wow, this has merit, this helped someone, the next time you go to put something out there, that voice is just a little quieter. Because you go, yeah, I hear you, but you remember what happened last time? I didn't die. Remember that? You do this again. No, honestly though, and then
Yes.
that voice is a little quieter. It still makes a big pitch. Oh yeah, well that was the other idea. This idea stinks. You're going to really get hurt with this one. And you go, I'm going to just do it anyway. Because again, if we all remember that we have an inner critic, if we all remember that we struggle, if we all remember that we're incredibly vulnerable, if we all remember that on some level we're terrified, then you know you're on an equal playing ground with everybody else, an equal playing field. And the heart will rise up over that and go, listen, I don't care how scared I am. It's about offering this to somebody else out of love. I want to assist. I want to help. And that voice will get smaller. And I told that to high school students, but it applies to people decades older than that.
Yeah, I think that's one interesting thing that comes up with creativity is it brings shadow. It's not just all sunshine and mirrors. It brings up all your self-doubt. It brings up all your insecurities. And then, you know, sometimes your body, because of trauma experience, acts as if, you know, it's standing in front of a bear. And, you know that you're safe, but your body doesn't know you're safe. And you're reacting as if you're standing in front of a bear. And so there's, I'm sure, all kinds of tools to use to work through what do you do when that shows up. And I'm sure you have a lot of resources and tools to share that you've used in your process for moving through that, because you don't have to be limited by that. You know, there are ways to move through that and to unlock it. It doesn't go away. It's always going to be there, but there's ways of moving through it so it doesn't limit your creativity from coming into the world.
That's a beautiful point. So true. Understanding, yes, that the body holds on to things. It's a very, very good point. I think one of the things is to remember that you're not alone or defective, and that whatever wounding or pain or hurt that's there, you know, you share this with the human family. The details of your journey are your own, and the details of anybody's journey are their own. And the magnitude of your story might be different from the magnitude of another person's story. However, the impact these traumas have on any of us, even though the details are different and the magnitude are different, it's the fact that we are affected by our journey and our traumas that puts us on common and compassionate ground. So, you know, remembering that you share this aspect with other people. And then I love what you said, Leah, you know, movement is important. Quick tools for me are go outside, take a walk, go outside, take a walk. And here we are with the green tent. We're all about, you know, nature and Mother Earth. You are made of this earth. And when you go outside, the entire everything that's around you in nature only wants to support you. It's just give yourself to nature. If you can find a beautiful spot, a park, anywhere that just, you will be fed by nature. And then other things I know, just as a quick thing, body movement. Yes, dance, put on a piece of music, dance around like a lunatic, do some yoga, do some deep breathing. But yes, support the physical body.
I love that we're inviting everyone into creativity and creating and bringing their gifts forth. I also think that sharing your story helps people see what that path looks like. And I would love to hear about how you got to this point where you're about to launch your film In Our Right Minds in a major way with International Women's Day on March 8th, and then other conferences. And March is a huge month for you, Dale, right? Coming out in a huge way with your movie. So I'd love to hear about your journey, what started this creative process for you, how you ended up here and now in this space, about to go into major sharing and launching of your gifts in March. Would you like to start there?
Yes, what an invitation. Thank you. And I will tell this story in a way that I desire for this story to be a model. It's simply my story. But in essence, it has value for ways that I kind of got out of my own way. So my story is that I share a presentation about the sacred feminine. Why? Because in my own journey, I had, this goes back a couple of decades, but I've always been a spiritual person. I've always seen things. I've been connected to the other side. I've been, my third eye is wide open, if you will. I mean, I see things. I used to do psychic readings for people and so forth. But I had a very wonderful sense of, what is the divine if we were to define it? And it would be certainly beyond gender for me. It would be the energy that imbues all things, the creative principle. If I were to, define God, it's becoming and complete at the same time. It's in me, it's in you. It looks like you, it looks like me. It felt very gender free to me. However, at a time when I kind of had the rug pulled out from under me with regard to my career goals, I was going back and forth to LA for pilot season and this close to a lot of different things. And then I got a call from Dana Carvey, actually, about being on his show. But I missed the call because we didn't have cell phones at the time. Bottom line is, I realized I had been kind of trudging along to achieve my goals. And I just felt like, here I am all the way in California when the opportunity was right in my backyard in New York, and I missed it. And I said, Dale, there's something wrong with the way you're doing things here. I mean, I think the universe is trying to tell you something. I know you got a lot of gusto. I know you set goals. I know you charge for it. Charge, go. And I think the universe is trying to tell you to just, because I felt really kind of devastated at the time. I took the opportunity, pulled my energy way in. And I just went quiet for a few months. And during that time, I started writing new poetry, and I started hearing a different voice inside of me, in that stillness, in that quiet, in that void, in that stillness, in that quiet, in that void. Oh, you gotta respect the stillness and the quiet and the void. It's uncomfortable. People say, hi, how you doing? What are you up to? What are you doing? I'm in the void. People don't want to hear that. They want to hear, what are you doing? What do you have to show for me? What are you doing? I'm kind of pulling back at the moment. I'm sorting things out. During that time, I started to hear a tiny little voice inside, and it was female. And that was different for me. That was unusual. These poems that I was writing were calling up a different kind of a voice. It was at that time I started hearing the word goddess, and this is what was pivotal for me. I didn't like the word at all. I simply did not. I was like, well, why do we have to use a gender at all? It felt very uncomfortable to me. It felt whiny and complaining, and I didn't like the word. And I said, Dale, you incarnated as a female. Why do you resist this word as much as you do? I think it's time to look at it. You're not so uncomfortable with the word God because you understand it to be gender free and so forth, but you really don't like the word goddess. Why? That was when I started studying and researching. I looked at everything I could lay my hands on, everything, anthropologists, psychologists, and the incredible seminal wisdom of the women that had come before me to study and bring forth the sacred feminine. And all of that studying made me realize how deeply embedded the male hierarchy had been in my psyche, and I wasn't aware of it. Even though I was like, oh, it's all about energy and it's all in everything, I realized that there had been this foundational thing that had been placed in my psyche about this masculine hierarchy, or even hierarchy in general. The feminine divine is not about hierarchy. So I had this experience that was so transformative for me as I just began to feel this embodied, feminine, divine, the cycles of birth, growth, death, renewal, the body, the blood, the bone. I started saying, in the name of the Father and of the Son and of the Holy Spirit. I would say, in the name of the Father and of the Son and of the Holy Spirit. I was raised Catholic. In the name of the Mother and of the Daughter and of the holy blood and bone. And this became the way that I would pray if I were praying. And I wanted to just call it all in. And I wanted to honor these physical bodies, this beautiful principle on this planet, life. I looked at nature and how life wants to live. It's here. It bursts forth unstoppably. You cannot stop it. And it's just constantly cycling: birth, growth, death, renewal. But what are we seeing? Life, life, life. Energy can't be stopped. It changes form. It can't be stopped. And we're so supported by this beautiful planet. Anyway, I was just transformed by her, by Goddess, by this feminine face of the divine. And I could see it everywhere in a way I hadn't seen it before. And I use the word archetype, and here's why. The reason I love the word archetype and the reason I use it is because it takes us out of religion, which is such a trigger for so many people. And it puts us on this wonderful ground that says, hey, this feminine energy is in all of us. Men, women, LGBTQIA, non-binary, we are all have the archetypes in us. They are equally in us. They are without boundary. They are not defined by gender. The sacred feminine flows through me and every human. And the sacred feminine has been so held back to the detriment of all humans and our planet. So here I was, this person with a lot of energy and creativity, and I just wanted to share her so much. So I wrote a play with a cast of different women, ages, 7 women, different ages, shapes, sizes, and colors. And I wrote a play called Dancers of the Dawn to celebrate the goddess, the sacred feminine. And the only way I could do that, again, use my story as a model. The only way I could write a play, the only way I could do it was at that time in my life, when I was so kind of pulled back. It was a summer morning, early in the morning. And I got up and I went down to the water. And I was looking at my feet, actually, with the water behind them. And the way I was sitting, I was holding up my knees like a kid, the way I was sitting. And I had a sense memory back to body stuff, right, Leah?
Yeah.
I was 11. I was 11 again. Early morning, summer, beginning of the summer, I'm down by the water. I'm sitting like this, I'm 11. What came flooding back into me was that at 11, if I wanted to do it, I did it. I want to write a play. I'm going to write a play. Yeah, let's put on a play. Let's make a play. Let's do. I didn't say, am I a playwright? How can I market this play? Why, I have no credentials to write a play. It just, there's none of that. And so I said, Dale, don't go into your head. Don't do it. Don't do it. Stay right here. You're 11 and you want to write a play with your friends and you're going to put on a play. That was the only way I could do it. I wrote it, staying in that head.
Oh, so good.
And everything started to flow because now I was playing, and I was like, I don't care what happens with this play. I'm 11 and I'm just going to do it. And I started writing songs, and I started, writing comedy, and I started taking the research that I had of the goddess, and I wrote this play. Okay, I'm going to wrap up this part of my story soon, but there's two other pieces that are important. I got the cast, got the costumes, got the props, got it all together, got the music beds so we could sing the songs, sold the tickets in Westport, Connecticut. Now the play is going to open. It's like a week away. And I was like, oh my, what was I thinking? This was a bad idea. I'm gonna go out there, Dale Allen, Dancers of the Dawn, about the goddess. What an idiot. I'm putting myself out there. Everybody's going to think, God, look at her. What a goddess woman. But it was too late. The tickets were sold. Everything was underway. The women were ready. But man, that was monumentally, I was terrified. Mm. But I was like, okay, Dale, you can't not do this. Just do it. So the play opened. And what happened? It was 100% clear that the men and women who came to see that play were hungry like birds in a nest for the sacred feminine. They were hungry for the message. Old men, young girls, everybody in between. And, that's when I realized, okay, Dale, again, it's not about me. This message, you are equipped to share it. And you have to, actually. You have to, because it's needed and you want to. So that's why I ended up turning it into a one-woman show, because I found out that I was pregnant. Ooh, another little gem of a story there. Took a while to get pregnant. Miscarriages, sad things. Mm. One of the reasons I created the play was because I needed to create. I was like, Dale, maybe your creativity lies elsewhere. So that was another reason why I wrote the play. Mm. I was like, fertility comes in many, many forms, not necessarily birthing a biological child, but the flow of creativity is an energy, and you want it so badly. You want that fertility. So be fertile creatively. And after the play closed, just a couple months later, I was pregnant, and this time everything came through, and my daughter is here, and I could just bawl my eyes out right now for how grateful I am for that. Anyway, so the whole kind of the whole thing about aligning with your own creativity. I kind of lost my train of thought there, but aligning with your creativity, taking an action of creativity, is aligning with the creative essence of life itself, the universe, the earth, everything.
Well, I think that's why it can be scary, because that's so much power. It's like taking on the life force of the universe.
Yes. And I just got my train of thought back again. That's why I turned it into a one-woman show, because now I had a baby. So I didn't want to have to go into New York and keep a cast of 7 women going and just be kind of running around like crazy. I really wanted to be with my infant, and my little toddler and all that. And in fact, the first time that I did the piece as a one-woman show was at an organization called MOPS, Mothers of Preschoolers. And my daughter was an infant, and I presented to 100 women, mothers. And I presented this story of the sacred feminine to them. That was the first one-woman show, which brings us around full circle. I took my one-woman show across the US, Canada, Kauai to Dubai, United Nations Commission on the Status of Women, but it was always live, right? Book it, go to universities, conferences, expos, theaters, corporations, me getting on a plane with my bag of props, my rain stick, and going and performing. And that was a real, incredibly sacred gift. Live audience is a huge channeling of energy, such a gift to get out of the way and let it come through for whoever's in the audience that needs to hear the message. What a gift, what a gift, what a gift. Pandemic comes, no more traveling. What a gift, because I get invited to speak at the Parliament of the World's Religions. But there's not going to be live presentations, it's online. Well, I can't perform in our right minds in front of a screen. I need to make it a film. What a gift. Now I have this presentation of the essence of the story, really about the sacred feminine, minus the comedic bits and this, all that. But that's a 45-minute film now that could, has legs of its own. It can go off without me. And I really want it to, because I know the message is healing, not about me. Hearing about the sacred feminine, seeing images of the sacred feminine, understanding how we lost the sacred feminine, how we lost this image of this is exactly what the divine looks like. And, she looks exactly like you, woman, whoever you are, looks exactly like you. This is important. It's an important message. So I'm grateful to the Green Tent. I'm grateful to have community and work together. We're collaborating on events and collaborating on online screenings and panels that follow up, because we all want to come together. What an incredibly stellar group of women in the Green Tent and beyond, who have so much to offer. And it's simply time now. All of these gifts need. Just want to say that the vision is that there's a grid around the earth, and there is a grid around the earth. It was held by the cetaceans, the dolphins, and the whales for a long time, because we just weren't really capable of it. But it's all on us now, humans, as well as extraterrestrials that assist, as well as the Legion of Light, ascended masters, and our good friends. Jesus, huge stellion of leaders of light, holding this grid with us. But the grid is that no matter where you're born on this earth, is to have you bump into something that is high frequency, lifts your consciousness up, and lets you see how magnificent and important you are, and how sacred and holy and magnificent you are, and that we want to hear from you. You count, you matter. These messages have to go around the world, which will help us to come to an ascended earth of peace where everybody can thrive. So we are firing up that grid now. I'm delighted that my work has the ability to go out across the internet when used for high purposes. What an assistance it is. But mine is just one resource. And we want to flood out everybody's resources, including yours, dear viewer, yours. You see, Leah and I and the rest of the Green Tent, we're here to help you. We want to share what you have to offer.
There's a divine timing that's coming online this March. Feels like a huge activation of bringing, not only bringing forth your creative gifts in the service of the universe, but then learning how to weave them together, how to converge them together and weave them together in a network of love offerings to create a new life support system across the globe. So I'm trying to sink into the power of this moment in history, the way that technology is showing up to support us in not only bringing forth our gifts, but weaving them together with others across the globe.
Yes, agreed. The World Wide Web, I remember when it was first coming around. I told you I've been around the wheel a few times. The World Wide Web, and I remember thinking, oh, WWW, World Wide Web, and I thought, oh, there's World War I, World War II, and then there's WWW, like 3 W's. And I loved it because I like, this could be the one that lifts us up, out of war. I remember thinking, oh, World Wide Web. And there are certainly cultures indigenous to this land in the US that hold the creator as a spider, weaving her web. And I love that it was the World Wide Web. Any technology created by humans will serve either low or high frequency, will serve either, light or dark as polarized. We collectively can use the World Wide Web to conduct the highest frequency with our offerings. And we're all coming together to do that at this time. So here we are in our virtual green tent. It's very, very real, though, in that it's reaching, reaching people. I think one of the other things this was a time to be very focused on mashing up avocados, for which I was very grateful, mashing up potatoes, changing diapers, holding, soothing, the rhythms of a home. Looking at that and understanding that that work was just as important as the work of a vice president. It's all relative. So, when we talk about offerings, it doesn't have to be some thing that gets the attention of a lot of people. That's not it. It's simply recognizing that the actions that we take, the offerings that we make with love, could be in the scope of our own home, where we create this magical kind of goddessy, nourishing, nurturing, wonderful place. That's just as important as putting out something that reaches tons of people to help to lift up their energy. It's all relative, and it's equally important. So don't get hung up on at all. Don't get hung up on the what of it or the reach of it. That's not it. It's the joy of the creating. It's the self-alignment that then comes out of you in a way that it reflects back what it is that you're putting out there. Peace in your home, something special in your neighborhood, something special in your green tent circle that you organize, a play that you put on, something that you organize at a school. It's all important. It all matters.
Right, it's the energy you do it in. So whenever you're centered in love and then acting in love, you're raising us all up. You're raising the whole collective vibration up.
Yes.
Now through the World Wide Web, you can share those stories of love, and they create inspiration and hope, and so that we all can move out of this lacking and into the field of abundance and our truth of infinite love and infinite creativity and joy, and into those higher vibrations of celebrating the absolute abundant fertility of the earth we live on. And celebrating it in joy, just really being in reverent engagement. I have a maple tree in my front yard, and every season she just explodes with seeds, and to think that every one of those seeds could become a forest. I mean, that is the truth of our abundance. And if you can align with that, it's just centers you into that open-hearted spirit of giving and loving and moving out of the chronic joylessness and fear and lack and scarcity mindset.
I love what you just said. Do you know, you literally transported me to your yard with your maple tree? And you made my heart leap for joy for the dogwood that's in front of my house, which I have adorned with countless crystals and seashells that I have strung up on it, so that all the little kids come to look at the magic tree. I want kids to know there's magic. There certainly is for me, right? And you just brought me to your magic maple tree.
Yeah, and that in just the reminder and remembrance that the magic that's in that tree is the magic that's within us, because and when someone taps into that magic like you have, Dale, that's the model right there. It's just tapping into that truth. And then when you see the magic and the synchronicities and the love and the abundance that it creates, it's like moving us all into that reality.
Yes. I'm literally feeling like it's like I'm in your yard with you with your maple tree. You know how important that is? I mean, it's phenomenal to me. So many of us feel alone, right? There's a kind of loneliness and disconnection that happens. And, we have, once again, any technology is used for the good or the high frequency or the low frequency. And our phones, while in so many ways they connect us, and almost everybody on earth has a phone now, they're just ubiquitous. But they can also create such shallow connection that makes people feel far more alone, where it's like there's this, this fake world of social media connections where supposedly everybody's, connected. In one way, yes, they are, but in another way, it's so shallow that it can really increase anxiety and loneliness and depression and all of these things. Describing being in your yard and taking a moment to commune and just love and appreciate the tree in your yard is such a huge act, because it has increased your vibration, aligned you, with this principle of life. You and the tree are made from this exquisite thing that can't be stopped, this life force, life force, life force. The seeds come from the tree, they go in the ground, the leaves come, they fall, they brown, they go into the earth, but it's unstoppable. These moments of communion connect you with all, including all people. These moments of presence are really important. And anybody that's, viewing this, taking a moment of presence really is a gift, not only to you, but to the earth and to every other, to earth and all living creatures, and to every fellow human. That's how big it is.
Yeah. When you start seeing that every person you come in contact with is that field of infinite abundance, has that magic and that power.
So I'm excited about the year ahead. I know for me that when this year opened, 2022, I did feel a very clear energetic shift. I was very, very quiet for the first week of the year, just communing with this energy that was coming in, because I could feel this big rollout happening. It's like a big rollout where everybody's just, it's time. And this is an example of it, where we're connecting and rolling out, energy and love and content and sharing and igniting others to do the same, to wherever you are on this earth, to recognize your value and join us, really. Just join us in offering what you have. And, we are here for you. The green tent is here, and you can connect with us. And, we want to share your story as well. So I know that this year is a big year, and it's a beginning, and I am just beyond excited. I really am, to be coming into community in a way that is so fruitful and lovely. I really am.
There's a, being in reverent engagement is really sinking into what's happening now and why, and the beauty of, the convergence of energies. So we're talking about the activation of this mass fertility and creativity and this shift into abundance. And you're starting the spring year with your film. And it feels like, to me, an activation of the divine feminine, a reawakening of the divine feminine, a calling home to the magic and the sacredness of the divine feminine. So I'd love to hear a little more about your movie, In Our Right Minds, and why you were called to that, and what meaning that has for this moment, moving into this year, into this spring with that movie. To me, feels like a divinely timed synchronicity. And I just want to speak into our beautiful green tent and our circle that we're holding here, how grateful I am that you moved through all those barriers, that you tapped into that magic, that you brought that forth for us, so that we can be, in a space of really receiving that gift that you're offering at this divine time.
Thank you so very much. So the film is this, wonderful 45-minute version of what was an hour and a half show. But it's the essence. It really is. And it's been described as, telling her story as opposed to history. I've had people describe it as like having a can opener, just opened up their minds to see things in a different way. I think that the only way we can discover in us, the only way we can really see it is by looking at this feminine energy and this feminine face of the divine. That's the only way to kind of get under those foundational beliefs that have been inside of us. Dr. Eleanor Gaden, cultural historian, describes the effects of male monotheism as three things. A male God created the universe. Humans have the right to dominate nature. Man has the right to dominate woman. These beliefs are inherent to that paradigm, and it's time to shift that paradigm. And we can't really get under it until we just start to energize this feminine face of the divine. Now, the feminine face of the divine is all about everyone must thrive. We come collectively as human beings, our blueprint, our ancestors, our foremothers and forefathers organized themselves in matrilineal cultures. In matrilineal cultures, there are no rulers because nobody is ruled and decisions are made collectively. This is our blueprint. There's the honoring of nature. There's the honoring of birth, growth, death, renewal. There's the honoring of empathy. I read a study just the other day, and I'm quoting it in my new podcast about the maiden, but it's about how girls from matrilineal cultures, which is again our blueprint, they don't have the same risk aversion that girls are trained to have in our cultures. They're courageous, they're bold, they're just right out there with what they want to do and what they want to say. They don't have the risk aversion that we as girls learn and then take into our adulthood, our womanhood. It's only when girls from matrilineal cultures bump up against the patriarchal cultures that we're all familiar with that they begin to assimilate and change. So I love studying indigenous cultures, and I'm so grateful to the anthropologists that give us this research, because it just shows us kind of how we're really truly designed. And that's what we need to return to. It's also really important to me that in my message, this is not a man-woman thing. It's not a good guys, bad guys thing. I love our brothers, sisters. I love our brothers and our sons and our fathers and our men. I mean, listen, I happen to incarnate as a woman. I think I've been far more times a man. Who cares? It just, we're all so blessed and we're all so precious to the whole picture. Men and women need to have this feminine energy coursing through them for our balance and healing. It belongs to all of us. And it's just time now, because the way this paradigm that we have all gone into together, this patriarchal paradigm that we are all bought into and have sustained and have fed, isn't working. And it's not good for our health or the health of our planet and all of our fellow creatures. It's just time for a change. So it's time for a big change. It's time for balance. It's time to return to our blueprint infused with the highest frequencies of this current moment. And so I'm really excited that In Our Right Minds, the film, is available for anybody who wants to view it or see it. I'm doing a lot of free events with it. And I do have it on, my website is thecore.space, www.thecore.space. And the film is for rent for $8, unless that's an issue, unless that's a problem. I will provide it for free to anybody. But it's there, and I thought, most people, that's probably okay. But I just want it to get out. It's a very helpful message and contains information that most people just aren't aware of. How did we get into this paradigm that we're in? It isn't actually natural to us. It developed based on one of our fabulous technologies that came out of humanity at about 1750 BCE, which is the technology of alphabetic literacy, which started to change the way we conducted our society. And I'll just give you a quick sort of graphic example. When cultures would bump up to each other in the past, and Leah, you and I would come from a different, tribe or culture, we would talk about how we did things and share our rituals, and everything was very fluid, in this celebration, thoroughly connected to the earth and the land. And so much of our rituals would have to do with nature, and it was very organic. Once it was written down and I came up to your culture, I would say, oh, no, I have it written right here. This is right. This I have it written right here. You're wrong. I'm right. And these are static words. And that's the doctrine. Once we had things, we started, the written word caused a change in the way our brains function, because reading and writing is a left brain activity. Speech is a left brain activity. Language can be processed by both, but reading and writing is a left brain thing. And then once we began to conduct our societies and we began writing our laws, organizing ourselves around the written word, it changed the way the brain works, and it changed the way our societies were constructed. And it put us all, men and women, into more of this left brain way of communicating and organizing our society, which is hierarchical, abstract, logical, linear, beginning, middle, end, separate. I'm me, you're you, we are not one thing. The right brain sees Leah as Dale and Dale as Leah. The right brain just gets, oh yeah, I'm you, you're me. Literally right now, my right brain knows that. My left brain goes, oh no, we're separate. So we have this gift of these two hemispheres of the brain. We have the ability to once again come into balance, and we need to do so. We need to reestablish our empathy. We need to reestablish our empathy with each other, with all living things, and with the earth. We need to recognize that we are alive and breathing just like the earth is. It's all there in us. We just got out of balance. But as humans, we can bring it back again.
So you're coming out with two big events this March. Do you want to share what those are and when those are and how to get involved?
Yes. So the upcoming ones are March 8th. And so happy to have you join. That's a free link. It's at thecore.space. You can join us for a screening of the film, followed by a panel of stellar women. All of their bios are right on thecore.space. On March 21st, I will be with the UN Commission on the Status of Women, again with a film screening, followed by a stellar panel of women, all on my website, www.thecore.space. And then following that, March will come and go, but there are more things coming up in April because the community is connecting. So there are other organizations that are going to use the film, followed by a panel. And I do suggest that you check it out, because it will also connect you to the resources of every woman on the panel, everything that she's offering. I could get into all of them right now, but it would be kind of a long story. But they all are amazing women. And I'll also be talking about the Green Tent resources for you, dear viewer, so that you can, you're nourished, soul nourished by all of these great resources that will in turn help you to nourish the rest of us with what you have to offer. So those are the two things coming up in March, but there are more coming up in April, May, June onwards.
Wow.
So I'm excited. Yeah.
So March 8th on International Women's Day, go to
thecore.space, www.thecore.space. Everything's there. Of course, I'm on Facebook and all of that too. But that's, I think, the easiest thing to do is thecore.space. March 21st for the UN Commission on the Status of Women. April 1st is with Birthing the New Humanity. And then there's more coming with just amazing, men and women who are doing incredible work, and we're all just converging. We're converging.
Yes. And it's so exciting because we're entering the spring. You're bringing this forth. You're activating the grid. You're calling everyone in to share their creativity with us so that we can weave it together, just like this beautiful green tent that we're sitting in that was began in Verona, Italy. And we're also playing with the idea of showing your film within a green tent circle to get the conversation going, to activate your local community, gather your friends together, watch the film, move into this energy of supporting each other and, you know, taking better care of each other, supporting each other and bringing our gifts through, and supporting each other and taking better care of Mother Earth together, locally and globally, in this full connected network of support where we're all working together. And it's happening. You can feel it. So it's so exciting. I mean, sometimes my cells just vibrate because I could feel all of that coming online, and how we're all actively engaged right now in pulling those threads together and weaving that magic together. And when you listen to your heart and bring these gifts forward, magic and synchronicity shows up in ways that your mind cannot even imagine. And here it is happening. I just want to recognize that magic that you have ignited, and point to it. This is it. This is, you know, this is the magic and synchronicity that happens when you say yes to that void and what comes through that void.
And Leah, that is a mirror right back to you, a mirror right back to you, and for everything that you are and breathe and resonate with, and the authenticity from which you speak, and the heart-centeredness that you is so palpable and obvious with you. Your heart is so, I'm able to feel you so easily because you truly do come from your heart, and I'm beyond grateful for that. And spending this time in this green tent with you has been very, very nourishing for me. And thank you also for reminding me that, yes, In Our Right Minds is a great way to start a green tent too, because it sort of takes it gives you a first step. If you have any sort of concerns of, gosh, how do I lead this? It isn't really about leading. Circles are circular, but it's a great way for you to say, hey, let's get together and we'll watch this film. And then I promise you, you will be very inspired to talk with each other after that, and to go around the circle and share what came up for you while this film was being, shown. It's a perfect way to just not have to do anything, but bring your community together, watch it, and then just let it flow.
Yeah,
It's
it
a
was
good start.
guaranteed to stir the energy.
Yes.
And
Yes.
that's good. As long as energy is moving, it's good. No matter what comes up, when the energy is moving and we're having the discussion and we're moving into expression instead of repression, we're healing. And it's all good.
Beautifully said. Beautifully
And
said.
I want to say thank you for helping to anchor and ground this space. The original intention, the beautiful intention, was to create a support for women and girls to share their stories and to be held and supported and taking better care of each other and better care of the earth. And this is just the beginning of something really beautiful. Just the first thread starting to weave together of something really beautiful.
Thank you so much. I completely agree. Oh, the threads, and we all count and we all matter, and we need your thread. I'm so grateful, Leah. Thank you. I love doing this with you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
More to come.
More to come. And I'm excited about more women interviewing women.
Yes, women interviewing women. We'll do interviews, I'll do interviews, you'll do interviews. And again, if you are wherever you are in this world, if you're thinking, I want to share from where I am, we want to hear it. We want to see. Yes.
We know that you're ignited and you're on fire and you're bringing through your sacred gifts. And we want to create a field of support for that, to say, yes, it's valuable, it's needed. You're held in bringing that through, and we want to hear those stories and get them shared, because every story we share inspires somebody else to also enter that abundance. that we are.
Yes, yes, thank you. Whoever you are, however it is that you're appearing, whatever incredible sacred vehicle you incarnated in, and your story might be about something that, again, it's not about big news that goes out. It could be the way you regarded or communed with a house plant, but something that you know, if you tell the story, you are going to lift someone else up and inspire them. Please know how important you are. It's not about size or magnitude, because it's all magnificent.
Deep breath of love and gratitude.